Well, I would like to welcome everyone to the Legally Blissed podcast or video, wherever you're watching or listening. And I'd like to welcome Miss Kristen David, the Kristen David. I absolutely love that. Kristen David is an attorney who doubled her law firm revenue numerous times. And then she taught other people how to do that as a coach at a nationally recognized consulting group. Kristen loves to help people realize what is possible and recognize that they don't have to suffer with their law firms. She was there working over 85 hours a week, and life is so much better on the other side. Now she's living her best life in Paris a third of the time, at her home in Seattle a third of the time, and traveling the rest of the time. She founded her own coaching business, The Kristen David, Upleveling Your Business, to teach other business owners how they can build a business that lets them live the life of their dreams. In fact, she now empowers business owners to build profitable businesses that are self-managed. I love that. She recently told me in an email, life can be anything you want it to be. So welcome again to the podcast, Kristen. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Where are you in the world right now?
I am actually in Seattle, Washington right this minute, awesome. But I'll be back in Paris in about 4 days.
In about 4 days. Yeah. Good. It sounds like you definitely have the travel bug. How's travel been the last, year for you? Have you had to stay a little more, in place?
Yes. Definitely impacted through all the COVID stuff, but that's been good. It's allowed us to plan and strategize some travels better and to, just make the most out of where you are when you're there and really kind of dig in and do some of those things that you otherwise maybe don't have time to do in the flurry of all the travel and moving around. So it's been great.
So let me ask, what have you learned over the past year because of COVID? Like, I know you're a big systems person. We can talk about that. How have you improved your business or changed your business over the last year to kind of meet changes of COVID?
So we're 100% virtual company already. So we were already ready for that before COVID hit. So we were doing good on that. But I will tell you, pretty much all of our clients, we help them pivot and learn how to do more sales over the phone, how to really cater to the clients' needs better. And our clients, like almost all of them doubled during the last 18 months, with the exception of dentists and med spa owners. Those two categories, they kind of need butts and seats in order to make it work, right? But lawyers, CPAs, so many people can still give great value over the phone and through Zoom, and even just wowing your clients with little gifts and cards and things like that. So we've done a lot more of that, where since we couldn't do the in-person events and things like that, we've done a lot more virtual, a lot more workshops, a lot more sending fun things. So a few tweaks in there that we've made.
Yeah. Okay. So this is really fun that you mentioned gifting. I'm a big fan of gifting. I think that's such a cool thing to do for our clients. So what are you doing this year that could be like a little different, unless you don't want to let the cat out of the bag right now?
No, it's okay. So there's a number of things we do. We're doing again. In fact, everybody will get this next week here in December. We use a company called Sophia's Cookies. We work through a fulfillment house, and they personalize every box with our client's name on it. And they have a couple of, some popcorn and some, granola or cherry mix and chocolates and stuff. That's always a favorite. Everybody loves that. The teams love it because, it's little snackies that everybody in an office can eat. We're a big fan of catch people doing things right, and we send lots of gifts whenever we want to celebrate somebody's win. Now, it might just be some brownies with Send Out Card, which is all virtual, so you can just go to Send Out Cards and order a card and some brownies to go with. Sometimes we go to Etsy and find little personalized things. We love to celebrate when business owners are going on vacation and going off grid and leaving their business behind to keep running without them. We celebrate when they have like their best month ever. We also tend to gently nudge, sometimes not so gently if they're not doing the things they need to do. I've been known to send a size 13 hiking boot, just one, with a note that says, "This boot shall sit on the edge of your desk as a daily reminder, kick in the butt to do the things you need to do." And honestly, for some business owners, that can help them increase by 20, 30,000 in a month because they finally do the marketing they need to do, or they finally get their invoices out, or whatever it is they need to do. That mental reminder is such a good nudge. So we do the whole gamut of gifts, from like the fun to the inspirational to even sympathy. We've got a great memory jar that we send to people that's always well received. And I think in today's day and age, you've got to be a part of your clients' lives. You've got to, be relevant to what they're going through. So we have lots of fun with it.
Yeah, I love that. And that's something that, I teach, or that I'm going to have in my community, is the importance of client experience, right? Whether or not, like whatever kind of service you're providing, whether or not you own a med spa or a dental office, or you're a business coach or a law firm, like really providing an amazing client experience is like of utmost importance now more than ever, like at least in my opinion. So I think it's so important that our clients like know that we're thinking about them. And of course there's different ways that we can do that. Have you heard of the book, The 5 Languages of Love, or the 5? Yeah. One of those is gifting. And it's really funny because like, that's like one of mine. So I like love giving and receiving gifts. And it's always been important to me. Like, as just an attorney, I think that's so important that your clients know that you're thinking of them. So I'm glad that you were willing to spill the beans a little bit on what you're going to be doing this year. So,
and I would go, and I know you do this too, Susie, is we like make your mess your message. Like there are plenty of days that I have wonderful days and I get to go for a walk along the Seine and then, or go to a lunchtime concert and then open my laptop, work with some clients, and beautiful days. And then there's also days where I spend 8 hours filming in front of hot lights, or, not every day is a perfect day. There are some grueling days as a business owner, as a person. And, our first year anniversary, I shared all of the ups and downs. I did an hour live stream. We shared all the ups and downs, every person I hired and all the, hurdles we had to overcome. And same with the second year. And I think that's definitely, having that openness and being willing to share with others. Like, it's not always perfect, and life is a journey, right?
Yeah. And I think that we tend to compare our bad days with people's Instagram highlight reels, right? Yes. Like we think, she clearly has her stuff together, but today I am not feeling it, right? Yeah. So I think I actually love that. Make your mess your message, and be authentic as you're growing in your practice or whatever business you own. So I have your book here, Upleveling Your Business, Uplevel Your Life. I hope that's coming out correctly and not.
It is. Nope, it's perfect.
Okay, good.
And it's been so much fun. That book is like the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, it just keeps getting accolades and getting different things. It's been so much fun.
Tell me about this book. Okay, so it came out in 2019. So what was
2020. So we pre-ordered. So for anybody that's interested in writing a book, let me give you a quick little 30-second lesson.
No, let's have it.
You do the pre-launch in November, and you get yourself with pre-orders to the #1 listing on Amazon. Great. Now you're a #1 bestseller. Then in January 15th, you do the ebook launch. March 15th, you do the print book launch.
Okay.
June 15th, you do the Audible launch. And then September 15th of 2020, I did the French and Spanish versions,
Yeah.
which, I mean, many people didn't read those versions, but they were just like, wow, look at Kristen. But then you keep stirring the pot. And the reason you break those all out, you don't just do it all at once, is you want to give an opportunity to keep talking about the book and sharing lessons and getting people excited about it and reminding them to go read it or listen to it on Audible. And then, yeah, we kept stirring the pot. And then in January of 2021, Forbes picked it up as one of the top 21 business books to read in 2021. And then USA Today featured it as well in like February or March of 2021. So it's like, it just keeps like, and yeah, it just keeps going. It's awesome.
That is amazing. I love that. And I was incorrect about the date because it says that your copyright was 2019, but it actually was published in 2020. So it's really super recent. And then you had these amazing accolades in 2021. How cool.
Well, and a lot of that, I think, for all of the business owners out there is that you've got to have a marketing plan. You've got to be strategic, and it's about planned publicity. And you put yourself out there and you present the opportunities. And then often it picks up and it keeps going. And that's the beautiful part of it, right? Is about, you start the marketing going and then it gets that cadence. It kind of snowballs. So always fun to do. And I love supporting other people that are writing books or publishing books, just because I think once you've done it yourself, you're like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Oh.
So you always want to support others.
Absolutely. My sister just finished publishing a couple of children's books.
Yay.
And that was quite a feat. I'm very, very proud of her for doing that. So it's like, what's my book going to be on? I don't know. Maybe I'll write a book one of these days, but I know that this was no small feat. And I haven't started reading it yet. I did kind of skim the table of content, your pillars. You have your 4 pillars, which I think is really cool, the way that you structured this. Like the book, like it runs parallel with with your programs in some respect. Get clear on what you want is your first pillar. Marketing and selling, pillar 2, management, pillar 3, and pillar 4, financials. Where do you see lawyers in particular? I know that you work with a lot of different business owners, but with lawyers, and like you having been a lawyer, like
yes,
you know how a hit all in there, right? Can get a little crazy. Where do you see lawyers and law firms struggling the most with the implementation of these pillars?
Yeah, a lot of it is pillar 1 is planning. I mean, little planning goes a long ways. And I think as we get so bogged down with the day to day and we think that our clients' needs are the highest priority and we don't set aside that 30 minutes or 60 minutes to really plan for ourselves. And just a little bit of planning goes such a long ways. The pillar 2 on the marketing and sales, no offense, lawyers, but I know I did legal malpractice defense as a lawyer for 15 years. And there's a lot of lawyers that practice door law. Door law is you handle anything that comes in the door. Well, right. That's one of the quickest tracks to malpracticing, right? Like you end up taking on a client that you don't really believe in it. You don't really know the content. You don't know the strategies. And then you're hesitant to want to work on that file. And you listen, 80% of your headaches come from 20% of your clients, right?
Yes. I think that this is huge. Like figuring out who your ideal client is.
Yes.
Right. It's just as important for your mental health and your prevention of malpractice than it is for that person coming in your door. Right. And that's interesting that you mentioned that, because that's what I remember being taught that as a young lawyer as well, that, one of the ways to prevent malpractice is at the door. Yeah. Right. And people, attorneys I've heard them, say like, oh, they have a check in hand. They're a client.
Yeah. I ask people all the time, like, so who's your ideal client? They're like, one that pays. And I'm like, well, listen, I can show you plenty of people that will pay you, but you're not going to want to deal with them, right? Like life is short. Choose who you want to work with. And it goes in hand with like, go to work happy, right? Like work on the type of law you like to work on the type of cases, the type of clients, you can choose where you want to go. And as you build your business, you can hire other associates to handle, maybe more high conflict cases that maybe you don't want to deal with, or maybe you love the conflict cases. It's everybody's different. So yeah, I think those are the first two. The final one, the final two, management.
Yeah.
Law school sure didn't teach me how to manage people or how to like organize and create the systems. That's a big part of, as you get busier, you've got to take care of those great clients. And back to what you were talking, client experiences, right? Like making sure that it's a smooth journey as they come through. And then finally, financial controls. I mean, pillar 4, it's even more prominent as you grow and get bigger, but you've got to be a good money manager. Don't work your butt off only to pay everybody else. Like owners, you've got to orchestrate a profitable business from day one. Like, and it's never too late. Like sometimes we work with people all the time and we like hit the reset button and we're like, okay, are we even charging the right prices? Are we even offering the right things? Can we streamline this process? Can we give more value? Can we, what can we do to make it a better environment and a better experience for the client and get paid? So yes, lawyers have, like many business owners, they, we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we all kind of have an idea of where our weaknesses are, where we need to get a little help.
Yeah. So let me ask you a little bit about systemization. And because I know that's something that's really important to you and you talk a lot about it. And it's part of the reason that, you've built your own business that's essentially self-managed, right? Yeah. And this is why you get to go visit fascinating places and not just visit Paris, but also live in Paris. So sort of a big deal. So what, if you were going to give like just one little nugget of advice for a small law firm or a solo practice in terms of systemization, what would be a great piece to put into play right now for them?
So systems are really just the culmination of a policy that says, why are we doing it? A procedure that has the step-by-step instructions. And then you couple in maybe a video that's 3 minutes. Here's how to do it. An example, or like, here's what A+ looks like, or a template so they can fill in. Some people like checklists or a little diagram. Remember, we all learn differently. I'm a very visual learner, for instance, so I love my diagrams and workflows and things. But as you hire other great people to help you, our goal is to get that person up to speed fast and to help them see what does good look like. So no matter who you're hiring, if you're hiring an assistant, a paralegal, a bookkeeper, the best time to get started on building these systems is as you're training somebody. And so you explain to them how you want it done. You have them take notes as they listen. And their job from 4 to 4:30 every day is to type up that procedure. Type up those tips, those tricks, how you want it done. Even have them video you with a phone or something, or hold it over your shoulder as you're explaining a file, like, and here's how we do this, and here's how we do that. If you're training on Zoom, you could just hit the record button, right? And that becomes a little 3-minute training. So again, these are little quick ways that small business owners can just get started on building those systems. And what happens is over time, they build up. And next thing you know, you've got 5 little videos and procedures for the legal assistant on calendaring and email and opening files and, all the day-to-day stuff. And then you've got, 10 trainings for the paralegal on how to do, like in your world, certain, documents that you do for clients and how we go on the internet and double check information and follow up. And right? Like you just start somewhere. Like I think that's the biggest tip I'd give is don't get overwhelmed, just get started.
Right. So it's like the best time to plant a tree might have been yesterday, but if you didn't do it yesterday, no big deal. Just start doing it. Just plant it today, right? Like start today, start small. And I love what you said about doing the video. I think that we sort of think that everything needs to be kind of like these formal written procedures, right?
Yeah.
And at some point they need to be, but training videos are excellent. It sounds like.
You want a little inside scoop on my business?
Yeah.
I went from January of 2020 until January of 2021 from 4 employees, 4 team members to 18. Now there's no way I could have done that and had to reiterate all that stuff to all 18 of or 14 of those new employees last year. And this year we've grown even more. But what I did is starting from the day I opened this business, every new hire, I tried to record 4 or 5 videos with each new hire. And by the ones I was doing in January of 2020, I was, that then became one of the videos like, hey, let me tell you a little bit about our core values or our culture, or let me tell you how we work our calendar to be proactive. Every single employee since then has watched those little 3 and 4 minute videos, right? Yeah. And so now everybody is on the same level playing field and they all refer back to those videos and talk about them. But yes, I mean, I don't have enough hours in my day to have reiterated all that stuff over and over and over again.
There's no way, right? You would go crazy, and it's so much more efficient to do it that way. So you had a lot of growth over this last year. So let's talk a little bit about that, about hiring.
Yeah.
And what is it? What should we look for? Like, I know every business is so different, but like when we're initially vetting prospective employees, is there anything or like any best practices that you recommend? And I'm asking you this, because I think this is very timely because you've gone through, a lot. Like you didn't just like hire 14 people, like you also probably interviewed and vetted.
Oh yeah,
I don't
lot.
even want to know how many people, right?
So we have a whole vetting process and such. And actually, we actually published earlier this year a hiring and onboarding boot camp in 6 weeks. People can build out and automate their whole hiring process and build an entire onboarding university for their own business. We give you all the scripts and we give you like 250 documents and like all the stuff. So let me back up in the beginning. I'll give you a couple of nuggets out of here, some biz nuggets.
I like nuggets. So
first of all, finding the right person. It's an employee market and we've got to get really clear who are we looking for and for what position. So that job description, and then really thinking about what's the personality, what's the type of human that we want. Sometimes you might need a grinder in the back room as a para or an associate. Sometimes you need a bubbly personality as your client happiness coordinator or your receptionist, right? Like you need different people at different times, same as if you have somebody that goes to court versus works in a back room, right? It's different. So in your job ad, we kind of break it page 1 into 3 parts. The first part is a hook. Ask some questions. One of the ones I used to love to do, or that we have our lawyers do sometimes, is, are you a lawyer? Are you a systems person trapped in a lawyer's body? Ooh, now you're grabbing the attention of somebody that thinks in systems, but they recognize they're a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Do you love helping people move forward with a strategic legal plan? Ooh, you're grabbing people that like strategy and legal plans. And then maybe you add in with your legal team. So you're not just looking for a lone wolf, you're looking for a team player, right? So sometimes those first 3 questions can be that hook to really start resonating with that ideal person.
And then, not resonate with the not ideal person.
Yes. It will deter someone that's like, no, I don't think in systems. I don't like systems.
Yeah.
And there's the door, right?
Right. And you don't waste your time like interviewing them, right? You don't waste anyone's time. And it's almost like they are the ones that are initiating saying goodbye, right? When they're kind of looking at that job description, they see those questions like, okay, not for me.
Not for me. And that's what we want. We want them to, self select out. Then you really have to market to. So your second section of page 1 of your job ad is really marketing to that ideal candidate, saying, we are a growing business with robust marketing plans, looking to hire immediately, right? We want to let them know we're stable, we're strong, we've got marketing plans, like we're going somewhere. Nobody wants to come join a company that's like stuck in a rut, right? Like people love to join and be part of something that's growing and moving and going to help them thrive. And then the third part is really start identifying your core values. We're looking for someone who's a team player, who loves to innovate and streamline and find better ways to do things, because we know that every day we want our team to feel productive, right? And we even put that's why innovation is one of our core values, and teamwork, and right. So you really have to again resonate again and let people know, wow, I'm really interested in this place. Then you go into, we're looking for a paralegal who blah blah, right? Stand out from the crowd. I mean, we help business owners build these job ads and do this. So that was tip number 1, is in today's market, you really have to attract and resonate with that person. And then part 2 is we've got to engage that potential applicant. And we do it with a applicant tracking system, an ATS system. Those ATS systems used to be just for big corporations. Now they're built for small and medium businesses, and they are amazing. They are such a game changer. And that way, as soon as someone applies, they get an immediate email back. Hey, thanks for applying. Would you mind share something that's not on your resume? Help us get to know you better, right? You're immediately, because we've all been there where somebody applies and they don't hear from anybody for 4 weeks, right? They've gone and found another job by now, right? So use systems to help build that hiring process and engage that applicant and really show them, yes, you're in the right place. Yes, we're excited to have you. And that also helps you learn more about the person. So then once you get them on and you offer the job, that onboarding university, and you might be at scratch today, and that's okay. And the goal for next year might be every quarter, build out 5 videos for the onboarding university, right? Start slow. We take people through in a 6-week process, staff members, 1 or 2 staff members can build the whole thing in 6 weeks. But not everybody's, ready for that. Some people are, you're grappling with getting all the legal work done. You're trying to do some marketing. You're trying to manage your people, right? There's a lot going on your plate. So start small, but that's one way to kind of start to attract and bring in some great hires.
That's invaluable information. One thing you had mentioned, I think is really interesting, were the core values for your company. And of course, it's important, right, that your core values align with other people's.
Yeah.
Or, with your prospective client or employee. What about company culture? I know that you've spoken on company culture a little bit, and in this highly WFH environment, right? Work from home environment, where we are not as in the office as much as we were, 2 years ago. Where does company culture come into play, in general, for your clients and even for your business huge. Huge. And it's still even though we're, business on top, pajamas on the bottom half the time, there's still, right. There's still there's still culture.
Yeah. In the company. So that was actually one of the first programs that I built out when I started my business in 2019, was the Build Your Culture Masterclass, because I believe that, listen, business owners, culture will develop even if you don't do anything. Like it might not be the version you want, but it will develop. So it's important to build your culture intentionally and be clear on what you're trying to build and recognize how we as employers, as the owners, influence and impact that. I have plenty of people, I'm sure you've worked with a lot of people like this, but they say, "Oh, I want a collaborative culture." And yet they're like a dictator. And we're like, wait, this is a little inconsistent, right? We got to work on this. So, yes, part of it is, hey, we all have our own weaknesses and strengths.
Sure.
And, what is the culture you want to build? That collaborative culture or, more of a hierarchy? Everyone's a little different. And it's often a morph of multiple things. But that means talking about it in the core values, talking about it in our marketing, in our day-to-day with our team, with how we respond to our clients. Culture is how people work when you're not there, right? It's how we just innately are. That's part of what we represent as a company. And so building that culture intentionally, in fact, that we can make that a freebie for anybody listening to this. They can jump to my website, uplevelingyourbusiness.com, resources. There's a ton of biz nuggets and resources, but our core values are on there. Go in there, download it, swipe file, freely use the ideas and the verbiage. Seriously, like I'm an open book. Like I use what other people have done as a jumping off point to start to develop your core values and your culture. But anyway, so we'll reiterate that later. But culture is also a bit of like the team builders you do, especially running like a virtual company or even in person, like reminding the whole team we're humans and get to know one another. But also we want to help them be learning and honing their skill sets and thriving and learning new things. And so foster that in your environment and give people that outlet to kind of how can they learn and how can they teach one another some of the great skills they know. That's part of building a culture where everybody's in it together. Mm-hmm. So yes, culture is like one of my favorite things to talk on. We could spend a whole nother episode on culture.
It's actually really interesting, because I've been in this world, the business world and the law firm world for almost 20 years. And I'm aware of culture, right? Like maybe I can't explain it, but I can feel it when I go into a law firm.
Yeah.
Right. I know of the law firms that I worked for, 3 different firms, that they all had different cultures. Right. Even I'm like, I can't necessarily like put my finger on it. So I do think it's like fascinating that this is coming up, because this is the first time that I've really talked with anybody about culture. And of course, like I'm kind of like, I have this myopic, like law firm, like, like I'm kind of like in the law firm, like, but I know that it obviously exists in any business. And I love that I think you made a really great point that it is going to like your company culture will like manifest in some way, no matter what. So you better be proactive and guide it and define it the way that you want.
And so backing up, I think so I did this 10-week Build Your Culture Masterclass, designed 25 minutes every week during like a lunch break for like an owner and a key administrative assistant or something to watch. And that was kind of the audience that I crafted that for. And in the beginning, it's like, what are some of the culture types, right? There's like that hierarchy, there's a dictator style, there's like more laissez-faire, let it be, like everybody's a little different. And then next, going into what are the different leadership styles and recognizing that as the owner, as the CEO, our style very much impacts the culture and what we're saying we want to build versus who we are. And listen, everyone, no judgment zone. I used to be a micromanager. Like when I was a young lawyer, like I was on every assistant because I didn't yet know how to create written systems to say, here's how we want it done. Here's how we do it at our business, and teach and train them how to step up to do that great job. And then you don't have to micromanage, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of that was building and then building the systems that correspond. If you want a really loose, innovative, everybody can kind of create their own world, great, you can have that kind of a culture. It's not my culture, but that's, that there's no right or wrong. Everybody can have their own way. So, but it's being intentional about whatever it is you do want to build. And so it goes back to all the way into the hiring. I mean, coming back to the hiring. So I was vetting some, I vet every week. I'm on the phone, talking and going over some of the candidates. And there was this guy, and every time I said the word systems, we're on Zoom, and he starts leaning back and leaning back and leaning back. Next thing you know, I said the word systems again, and he crosses his arms, right? And I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And I finally asked the guy, I was like, I can tell you're getting pretty disturbed. And he's like, systems are shit. It's just a fuzzy word. Nobody, you could write it down all you want. It's never going to work that way. And I was like, and there's the door, right? It was like, clearly this person was never going to fit in my culture of my business, like, very clearly.
Right. Well, at least you learned that early on, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the cool thing is that you were able to be on a Zoom call with him, and you were actually able to observe his demeanor, which I think is really important. When you're interviewing people, you can actually get a whole lot just from their body language.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, you can't change a personality. You can't change if somebody is not resonating, not like vibing with who you are and what you guys represent. That's a big orange flag that's like not the right fit. So yes, it's so culture is one of those things that I think finally more businesses are paying attention to and really starting to develop intentionally, which I love.
And you have a boot camp on that, right?
So the Build Your Culture Masterclass, we actually wrapped that into our Business Mastery College. Okay. I always wanted, so the book is, some people like to read, some people need more hands-on learning. So the Business Mastery College has all the lessons from the book in there with videos and workbooks, and the bonus Build Your Culture Masterclass, and every month I'm a big give person. So every month we do a free webinar, like the art of delegating and how to conquer your email, all these different things that we need in every day of our business. And people jump in there because I wanted to create the thing that I never had when I was a young lawyer running a business. Like, please just tell me how to terminate this person, and do it in 15 minutes or less. Like, I don't have 8 hours to watch on how to terminate a person. I got 15 minutes. So that's what I created, is all these little bite-sized lessons, like, oh, you need to do this, watch this video, here are the documents, get on your way.
I think that is so, like, it's not that our attention span is getting smaller, or shorter. I think that we just want our information in smaller chunks. Like, I'm not going to sit down and do an 8-hour course these days. Like, even though I kind of would love to have that luxury, right? Like, so someone who loves to learn, I'm just probably not going to do it. But like, being able to sit down and take in, like a 10-minute lesson, I think is like, that's brilliant of you to do that.
When so one of the learning lessons, we moved from like ClickFunnels. We started off the business, everybody said, oh, ClickFunnels is what you use. And we moved to Kajabi because we can have all these lessons on your phone, your tablet, right? So if you're sitting there at 10 at night and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to terminate this person, great, jump on there and, watch that video. And now you know what to look out for. And so yeah,
that's interesting because, that you mentioned how to terminate, because I think that is like such the first time a lawyer goes through that, right? Like, how to terminate a client. And I presume, were you talking about a client or an employee?
Both or either.
I mean, it can do wonders for your mental health. That is for sure, right? It's like, I don't care how much you're paying me. I do not care. It does not matter. We are never getting back together, like that Taylor Swift song, right?
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah, that, like, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. That's kind of like my, guilty pleasure. But yeah, so that is, yeah, like just being able to hop on there, do a quick search for the information, quick lesson. The amount of just the number of people who've probably had like really quick improvements in their mental health just because of that, right? Just being able to terminate that client or that employee. That's key. And it's like, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say on that vein, if you wake up 3 mornings in a row thinking of someone not your spouse or significant other, like they gotta go. Like you're wasting way too much mental energy. Not the right fit.
I love that standard, right? It's very objective. 3 days in a row, you're thinking about that person. It's not your partner. It's time to like get rid of them. Yep. It's so hard too. It's scary, right? Because you're thinking, oh, like, what are the repercussions? I'm losing money. This person's going to hate me. Are they going to be able to find other counsel, right? Like that's something I thought before too. Like, oh my gosh, but I kind of feel like you have to get to the point in your career and your life that you're like, there's nothing more important than my mental health.
Absolutely. And it's so hard because law school doesn't teach us this stuff. I mean, as a young lawyer, so a quick story, I went out to my paralegal's desk and I'm like, this is the 3rd time. I need you to fix all these typos and errors. Like this has to go out today. And I put it on her like credenza, like above her desk. And I like turn around to go back to my office and she yells, no. And I'm like, I turn around, and as I turn around, I see a stapler flying through the air at me. I'm like leaning back to dodge getting hit. And in my mind, I'm thinking, can I fire her? Like, I don't know the answer to this. I'm a young associate, a young attorney, right? Young lawyer. And I'm like, and just then she yells, I'm sorry, I forgot to take my meds. At which point I'm really thinking like, can I fire her or not fire her?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know. Nobody taught me this stuff. And so I went back into my office, closed the door, called a friend of mine who was an employment lawyer. Like, I didn't know how to deal with this stuff. No one prepared me for these things. And I wish I talk about that in the book because you've got to know ahead of time, like what the exit strategies are. And it makes it so much calmer and easier in that moment to be like, okay, final straw. I don't need to put up with this. This is not the right fit. There are other great people in this world. And yes, I always try to give people an improvement plan and time to like remedy, but you throw staplers across the room at me, like I'm done. Like that's just not working.
This is fascinating because this is not the first time that I've heard of physical abuse in a law firm. Yeah. And it's interesting. Like, and you also mentioned just when you get out of law school, like you go to law school, then you get out and like, what do you know? You don't really know shit, right? You feel really awesome. You graduate from law school, but at the same time, you don't really know how to practice law. You don't know how to deal with partners, right? You don't know how to say no necessarily, or if you should say no. Should I say no in this? I need to say no, but I can't, right? And how do you navigate dealing with paralegals, right? Like that kind of stuff. It's almost, you kind of have to go to the school of hard knocks in the law firm in many ways, right? And you sometimes learn the hard way, and unfortunately get a stapler thrown at you. And I'm really sorry that happened to you.
Well, I think that's part of why I'm so passionate about helping people with think about the culture you want to develop and then build those core values and share those with every new hire, so I actually our team is so big now. We have a weekly team newsletter just for our team. And part of this is we're virtual. And so I want each department gets to showcase their wins, their victories, their hurdles that they're working on. And we often, like every other week or so, we're talking about our core values. And sometimes we're highlighting where we catch one of our team exemplifying our core values, or we just, we're talking about innovation or whatever we're doing. And I think the more you can say like that kind of abuse, verbal abuse, talking about your diversity and inclusion plan as part of the culture you're building, of bringing in people with new perspectives to help us learn and grow together. Like the more you talk about it, you make that an open conversation piece, the more that kind of behavior, like throwing staplers, is less and less acceptable. And people are just not going to do it. They're not going to, like, that just doesn't, that will never fly in,
Right.
in my world. And so, when I first started a law firm, I didn't know any of this stuff. Like it was hang your shingle and start practicing law. And, so again, I think we all evolve. And that's part of why I'm so passionate though about helping people put this stuff in place, is because I know how much better it is on the other side. And I know how much I struggled when I didn't know how to do this stuff. So it's always fun to see people like really put together those businesses. And I know you work with a lot of different owners and help them in a variety of ways too. It's so rewarding to see that, like, after they've put in the work, the other side.
It really is. Yeah. It's fun to see other people succeed and make money as well. I want to be cognizant of your time. So before I let you go, I do want to know a couple of things.
Yeah.
First of all, what's next for you?
So
you've exploded over the last year. Like you published a book 2 years,
well,
a year ago. Yeah.
We make no bones about the fact we're growing a multi-million-dollar business as quickly as possible. We did our first in-person workshop again in October with the Seattle experience. I'm all about hands-on learning. So for 2 days, we went around town. We worked with other entrepreneurs, different things. And then on Monday, we created action plans to take back to their businesses. The next one is the Paris experience, 5 days in Paris for business owners.
April, right?
Yep, April.
I saw that. Yep. I was like, that looks really interesting.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We then have ones planned for New Zealand and Greek islands in the years after that. So I'll probably do a mix between, I'd love to do like a Boston experience. But again, it's get out of, the old funky sit in a CLE for 3 days or conference, or we've all done that way too much. And there are so many lessons to learn about your law firm and your business from other businesses and from seeing what's going on and taking those lessons. Like in Paris, I'm taking everyone to a Michelin star restaurant and talking about like the high caliber, amazing staff that they bring in and attract, right? Yeah. They don't tolerate F players. They don't like.
No, they don't. Or people that throw staples. Or
the people that throw staplers, right?
or boots. So
yeah. So, again, we're going to be hopefully doing a little more of those, but they're all small group experiences. We're doing more virtual workshops. Again, I'm a big fan of train not just an owner, but their team. So January, we have a big all-day calendaring workshop virtual. The morning is admin team. We'll build out the whole 12-month calendar and layer in all the things, business, IP, all the things they need to do in the year. And in the afternoon, the marketing teams are going to get together with us, and we're going to build out a 12-month marketing plan and layer it all into the calendar and use the calendar. So I love doing fun, interactive things and helping the owners build, like get their teams involved, get them building and growing. And of course, there'll be some policies and procedures that get shared because that's just us.
Of course.
Yeah, so lots of great stuff. We just keep growing and expanding and helping more business owners. That's what it's about.
Okay, so you have amazing things in store.
Yes.
How can people find not Kristen David, but the Kristen David?
We did that to stand out. Part of our business plan was so many, I've helped thousands of business owners, and they all knew me from being in my workshops in different places all over the US. And so the business plan was to do the Kristen David for the first 18 to 24 months, and then really build out Upleveling your business as we go. And so we kind of transformed that. As you know, I now have, there's 8 coaches on the team. I mean, we've got just such a robust group. And you know, it's a lot of fun, but people can go to uplevelingyourbusiness.com. And if you go to resources, tons of freebies. I'm big on giving away lots of freebies, from block calendars. Those core values are in there. But yeah, so people can go and learn. There's lots about what we do. And listen, even if people just picked one good nugget out of today, I'm happy.
There are so many good nuggets. And so what I'll do, in the show notes here, I will have a link to your website. And also I'm going to list in some of those really good nuggets, because you're like the nugget queen. I'm telling you.
Bite-sized nuggets, baby. Like, we, as business owners, we're busy. We don't have time. We just like, give me what I need to know, like help me understand it, and then move me on my way. That's what it's about. So
And sometimes we just have to implement like one little thing, like one little thing a week. And those little baby steps ultimately add up. They really, really do. And then one day you're like, whoa, here I am. I have this thriving business with.
That's where I'm at. It's
And
awesome.
Yes.
It's awesome. And anybody that wants to come to Paris, even if we're not doing the Paris experience, let me know. I actually do a number of like little VIP sessions in Paris. It lets people kind of write off their trip, but also like, you know, it's when you're outside of your normal environment, you are able to look at your business with such a different perspective. And so it's always great to kind of get away and work on the business a little, but also have fun.
I think that's so important. That's another nugget, right? Like get out of kind of your, like get out of where the sausage is made, right? Like get
Yeah.
go like work in a beautiful environment, like go stay in an inspiring place. And I think doing things like that really help you put a different perspective on your life and your business. It can really just be a great way to generate some really good ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. You learn so much from traveling. I absolutely believe that.
We do.
So.
Well, Kristen, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This has been so much fun. I've learned so much, and I'm sure that our listeners will as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I always have fun, and I look forward to doing more with you.
It'll be fun. Yeah. And then, yeah, we will definitely need to get like dig into culture even more. So thank you, my friend.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.